The weather is warming up and the flowers are starting to bloom. What bottles of bourbons and whiskeys do I like to drink in the springtime? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing us a brand new video. Now that we have these warmer days upon us and we no longer have to worry about, frigid temperatures, we always find ourselves leaning into some different sips throughout the year. And springtime is no different, right? We find ourselves leaning to something that correlates a little bit better with the temperatures and the weather that surrounds us. And, I always talk about myself specifically, that in the fall and the winter, I try and find something a little bit bolder, a little bit more brash, a little bit higher in rye spice and things along those lines. So this list for the springtime, I always do find myself leaning towards something that's a little bit lighter, something, not light and proof, but lighter and a little bit sweeter, a little bit more enjoyable. And I find myself liking wheated bourbons a little bit more in the spring. So I'm going to get you guys in on the secret on what bottles I tend to like this time of year. Before we get in mine, I always ask the question, what bottles do you tend to find yourself pouring this time of year in the warmer days into the wee hours of the spring and pushing into summertime? But without further ado, let's get into bottle number one. Bottle number one is actually, I'm grabbing two bottles because if you can't find this one, most likely going to be able to find this one. And my number one pick for number one is going to be the Rebel Cask Strength Reserve Single Barrels. Now, these are going to be coming in around that 124, maybe up to 127 proof, and really darn good bottles that are wheated bourbons. Not going to break the bank, that $50 to $60 range, and you're going to fall in love. I absolutely love these Rebel Cask Strength Reserve bottles. Some of the better wheated single barrels out there that you can get your hands on for not breaking the bank. And if you can't find these, if your local stores don't have them, they should have this bottle right here. This right here is the Rebel Small Batch Reserve. Comes in at $110. I think it's $34 or $36 now, and you're getting really, really good bourbon inside that bottle that you can't go wrong with. You can mix it, you can sip it neat, sip it on the rocks, you can do absolutely anything with it. I really like it as a workhorse bottle in the spring and summertime because it's got the proof, it's got really great flavors, it holds its own. It's cheaper when it comes to buying it at a store, and it's just darn good. You can't go wrong with that bottle or both of these bottles from Rebel at all. Let's get into bottle number two. Bottle number two is going to be pretty much the same thing as bottle number one, and we're talking about Larceny Barrel Proof. Now, on my left here, we have a single barrel pick. These are coming out left and right, and they're averaging that 6 to 7 year age statement for barrel proof stuff. This one's the Adelphia's pick, 126.2 proof, 6 years old. Absolutely wonderful bottle. Can't go wrong with it whatsoever. But if your local stores don't have a Larceny pick, you can still find Larceny single or the Larceny barrel proof options, the A, B, or C, sitting on your shelves anywhere from that $60 to $70 range. Yes, prices are going up. It absolutely stinks. I totally understand. But if you're looking for really good wheated barrel proof bourbon, Larceny is definitely the way to go. It's not, I personally have fallen out of, liking Larceny more than Elijah Craig, but in the spring and summertime, I do tend to find myself, like I always say, leaning towards those wheated bourbons. These are definitely ones that I find myself loving going into these warmer days for sure. Let's get into bottle number three. Bottle number three goes to the Penelope Wheated. This is a brand new bottle that came out this year in 2025. Comes in at 95 proof, $35 to $40. Can't go wrong with this right here. It's absolutely delicious, delicious wheated bourbon that, it's readily available. I see it almost every store I go into now. I think it holds its own against other lower proofed wheated bourbons. I think it's better than Larceny, the 92 proof. I think it's better than Maker's Mark. I think it's better than Weller Special Reserve. It just holds its own. It actually is a really nice Penelope offering, whereas some of these other newer Penelope offerings are a little bit overdone. This one is done just right. Let's get to bottle number four. Now, before we pull out bottle number 4, make sure you guys drop that like, leave that comment like I said earlier. Smash that subscribe button. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. And if you really want to help out this channel like you wouldn't believe, you got to check out the Patreon. Patreon link is down below. We do a whole bunch of fun giveaways with samples and all kinds of different things. Barrel picks are in the works. I've been talking with a bunch of companies and distilleries, and they will be coming in the second half of 2025. And you don't want to miss those because they go to the Patreons first, and they will most likely sell out before they go live to the public. So if you want to check it out, link is down below. For as little as $2 a month, you help support me and the channel and keep this crazy train engine that we've got going, keeping on moving. But let's get to bottle number 4. Bottle number 4 goes to E.H. Taylor Small Batch, and it's one of my absolute favorite Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1s. Now, this is not a wheated bourbon. It's going to be a low rye bourbon mash bill, but you're getting 100 proof, super sweet and enjoyable bourbon that I think is better than Eagle Rare. I think it's better than Buffalo Trace itself. I think it's better than Blanton's. And, you know, if you can find this bottle for anywhere from $65 to $85, I think it's an absolute steal and a must-get bottle. And, you know, I've been fortunate and lucky enough to walk into stores and see this bottle for that price, and I pick it up every time I see it for that price because I absolutely enjoy the E.H. Taylor Small Batch. I've talked about the combination of the E.H. Taylor Small Batch versus the E.H. Taylor Single Barrel. I will stand on that solid rock and say that E.H. Taylor Small Batch, in my humblest and personal opinion, I'm not 100% right all the time, but I might not be right on this one, but I do think that the E.H. Taylor Small Batch is better than the Single Barrel. I think it's a better bang for your buck when you're talking apples to apples, and that's how I compare those two, because it's the same juice, it's just a little bit different. You're talking about a blend versus a Single Barrel. I'm not going to go too much deeper into that, but nonetheless, E.H. Taylor Small Batch on this list for springtime bourbons because I want something that, you know, has some spice to it. You know, some of these wheated bourbons will have some spice to them, but it's going to be a little bit different. And this one right here just complements the springtime weather a little bit in that perfect realm, if you might say. I do enjoy this bottle a lot this time of year. But let's get into our next bottle. Next bottle we're talking about is Wilderness Trail. Now, this is a single barrel wheated offering. If you can't find the wheated single barrel offering, I really do also enjoy the regular bourbon offering, the rye blend. But this right here, absolutely great bottles that don't break the bank. $65-$70, absolutely wonderful. Coming in at this one was coming in at 111.3 proof, so not super high proof single barrels, but not low proof. You know, you're getting really good proof point that's not going to burn the palate out, but you know, you can sip it on nice. You can sip it in a cocktail if you absolutely want to. I don't recommend doing that, but you do what you want to do. But I do love sipping these neat, you know, when that weather starts to cool down a little bit in the springtime, you know, at nighttime and stuff like that. You got blue jeans and a sweatshirt on. You're comfortable sitting down, sipping your Wilderness Trail single barrel. But that is that. We've got one more bottle, my absolute favorite bottle to go into in springtime, and that bottle goes to Weller Antique 107. Absolute bomb bottle. One of my absolute favorite all-around bottles at 107 proof. You know, these are, it's just, for me, it speaks springtime bourbon absolutely perfectly. You know, you're not going to blow your palate out at 107 proof. And, you know, we always say that secondary sucks, yes. But you can find Weller Antique 107s on Facebook, not Facebook Marketplace, on Facebook groups for $90 to $110, whereas in stores, you're finding it for like $150, $160. So I highly recommend joining Facebook groups, seeing what your local areas are going for on these bottles, because it's not anywhere near what the stores sell them for. And I'll pick up a backup for this bottle once it gets a little bit lower, most likely on a Facebook group, because, well, stores are charging arms and legs and thighs and ears and noses for these bottles for whatever reason. But this is my pinnacle favorite, absolute tippy-top favorite springtime sip that I will be sipping on in 2025. Make sure you guys let me know. Like I said, I want to know what your bottles are that you go to and lean towards in the springtime for 2025. If it's anything different than your what you went for in 2024. Make sure you guys drop that like, smash that subscribe button, check the link out down below for the Patreon. But until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.